Hi, my loves. I miss you. It has been wild here. And I'm so excited to be back to talk all things men in marketing like we do here. And today we're going to be talking about the number one mistake that is affecting you in blowing up your business. The number one mistake. And honestly, it affects everything. Like when I understood this is how I went from zero, well, actually not even zero, negative 19,000 to 155,000 to meeting the love of my life. That is the most extraordinary person on this planet, to being the healthiest I've ever been, to eliminating alcohol, to having the most extraordinary friends on the planet, to deepening my love with God and my connection with God. Like it is literally everything. And so many entrepreneurs struggle with it. And it's the number one mistake that I see time and time and time again. But before we dive into that, I have a few announcements. So one, hi, if you're new here, what is up? We talk everything men in marketing here. You're in the right place if those are the things that you're focusing on right now, especially as a woman that's like in her 30s, deciding between like, do I have to pick one or the other? No, you just have to learn how to balance between the two, which leads me to my second announcement. We are changing the title of this podcast. So if on Monday you cannot find us, it is because we have outgrown Healing to Happy. Healing to Happy was my first little baby, and she was my gut health business, my gut brain connection business, where I helped people heal their way to happy by the connection, the foods that they ate. They healed anxiety, depression, things like that, and it was extraordinary. And I was such a cute human then. But I am not Healing to Happy anymore. It just doesn't fit, right? It's just not that side of me. I'm not like the cute girl anymore. I mean, my boyfriend definitely says it, but like it's just not me. And so we are transitioning to the Soft and the Savage podcast because that is our movement here at Healing to Happy. We have the pre-housewife era, which is the entire movement that we do, helping you understand one, how to attract love, and then two, how to maintain love so you actually have the time, which you need time freedom for. And so you scale and automate your business so you actually have time to be a wife and a mother. That is the pre-housewife era method. But in order to do the two of those things, you have to learn how to blend the soft part of you, the very feminine part of you that a lot of you shut down, and the savage, the part of us that we love. We turn it up. It's that daddy energy. But when we do it in the right way, because a lot of our trauma actually had us in the wounded masculine energy, which is blocking us from the growth. And so soft and savage, it feels so good. And so starting for my 32nd birthday, I'm gifting me and you a rebrand on top of many other things. But this is for next week after this podcast. If you cannot find us, it is because we are under Soft and Savage. So I'm really excited. I know a lot of the times it gets confusing because some of us search certain things. So it'll be a lot easier for you if you are subscribed to our podcast. I will make sure to keep reiterating that so that you can find us in the next episode. But I'm very excited to dive in and do all of that because it just feels good. It feels so exciting. So I'm very excited about that. But other parts of this, let's dive in, shall we? The number one mistake I am seeing so many of y'all make when it comes to your brands, and the number one mistake that you are making that is keeping you small. It's keeping you from blowing it up, even though you keep trying, even though you feel like you've been showing up consistently, even though you feel like your copy is on top of the game, even though you feel like you've been doing all the funnels and showing up consistently and, doing the photo shoots and really, really dialing in on these things. And even if on the male side of things, like even you know who your man is, you're really dialed in, you got the clear picture, like all these things. The number one mistake you are making that is keeping you from blowing up is not being clear and consistent in your positioning. You're lacking the clarity in positioning. And what I mean by this is your niche and how to position yourself to said niche. Inside of Boulder Branding Academy, which is our 12-month container, we have a program called Boulder Branding. Plot twist, surprise. And one of the things that I found with my clients is y'all know how you want to talk, right? You know who you want to serve, but a lot of you, it's so broad. You have ages from 27 to 52. You have, men and women. You have certain demographics. You have certain jobs. You have certain things. And because this fear of, I don't want to exclude anyone. I don't want to be judged. I don't want to I want to be inclusive. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I don't want to, set the wrong tone. I don't want to, I have such a wide variety of private clients that if my content's only talking to one, aren't they going to be pissed at me? Like, these feelings are so valid, but they're not real. Because if you're talking to everyone, you are talking to no one. And this is why your content is not converting. This is why your brand is just basic. Your brand is sitting there and you're like, I'm putting in all of this work. Why is it not converting? You lack clarity and you aren't positioning yourself as an authority. You're not positioning yourself catering to your market. This is branding, right? A lot of us get this confused because we're sitting here, we're like, oh, branding is a pretty logo. Branding is like, doing a photo shoot with a cute little disco ball and a glass of champagne. And that is my branding. And it's like, yeah, not really. Like, that's a photo shoot. Your brand is your personal brand. It's the essence of you. It's the consistency of understanding this is what makes me rare and valuable, but it's not about you. This is the tricky part that a lot of people get confused on. It's not about you. It's the position in which you put yourself in or how you position yourself that is tailored to the specific person you want to work with. And so does that person like disco balls and champagne? Or do they like luxury? Or are they more boho? Or are they more beachy? Are they more naturey? Like, what are the aesthetics that this type of person that you are trying to call in, what does that apply to? But so often, this is what I see before people come into Boulder Branding. So often, you are fitness, you are nutrition. I mean, those are kind of the same thing. You are a girl's girl. You are out in the wild. You are just living your life and documenting it as you go. This is what I call the golden retriever vibe. You're just sitting there and it's like, I can tell you're onto something, but it doesn't attract me because I don't know what it is. There's just so much to it because you're trying to document everything that you are. You're trying to document every facet that makes you you. And I love that for you, but that's building your social media for your Aunt Sally. That's not building your social media and your personal brand for high ticket clients, for people that are actually going to come to your page and within a nanosecond be like, I know what this person does, and that person, I want to work with her because that is the exact need I need to be filled. And she is living the life that I want. Because at the end of the day, your personal brand is your consumer's vision board. And if you don't know what their vision board is, and by the way, more than just like they want to be healthy, more than just like they want money, more than just like they want love, like it needs to be so dialed into how they want love, what type of love, how they call that love. It has to be dialed into the number that they are trying to attract, the mindsets that are getting them trapped, the things that are keeping them from actually achieving the body that they want. And why do they want that body? It's not just, oh, I want to feel good. Why do they want to feel good? This is the part that every one of my clients wants to punch me in the face because it's a part that makes you have to really think. Your brand and your marketing has to be tailored to someone's psychology, to the things that they don't even know that they're thinking, which means you have to do some deep work. It can't just be scrolling and you want the love of your life. Da-da-da. Download my, I don't know what people download anymore. Download my visualization practice. Yay! This is how it comes. Like, this is the thing. This is why. Like, imagine if you were just trying to talk to every single person at a party. And you were just trying to be everything to everyone, and you were bouncing around, and you were hyper focused, and you were doing or not hyper focused, hyper scattered. You were just bouncing around doing these things. You end up blending into the crowd instead of commanding the room of the energy. You know, the person that just knows why she's there and how she serves. And that woman, this is why you guys hear when I'm talking about branding, that woman. Because when a woman knows what her standards are, who she attracts, who she wants in her life, who she does not want in her life, the view she has on herself in the world, she's not beep bopping around a room exhausting herself trying to be liked by everyone. She is the lighthouse. She is the natural essence of feminine energy, where her light beam just goes and what is meant for her is attracted to her. because she is clear on who she is. She is a woman. She is a woman that is powerful and grounded. Versus why I call it the golden retriever. You're bouncing around trying to be liked by everyone, get snacks from everyone, trying to do these kind of things. No one really knows. Like, you're not someone that stands out. You're just someone that's there. You're just another person. And a lot of us, this is a hard thing to swallow because we're like, but I'm doing all the things. I'm doing all the things. What do you mean? Shouldn't they love me because I'm overperforming? That's a wound. That's our father wound, actually. If I am a good girl enough, won't you choose me? If I do enough, won't you choose me? This is why I say men in marketing are the same thing. Because if you overperform, you feel like an actress. And that's the thing that's wrong in a lot of our relationships, a lot of our branding. It's like, I can feel that you're overperforming. I can feel that there isn't something that's substantial because you're not clear. You're so wishy-washy on who you serve and how you speak based on what they're doing, based on what's hot right now, based on what's trendy. I'm just like, you're a follower. I want to be with leaders. I want to be with someone that's innovative. I want to be someone that disrupts the system and isn't afraid of it. And so why do we struggle with being clear and having consistency in our positioning? Why do we do that? One, fear of being quote unquote niche and exclusive. We don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I don't want to, I have clients in every department, and I would feel really bad if, because I'm only working with married women in their mid 40s, that like if I talked about dating and just people that are in their 30s, I'm excluding them and they're going to get mad and they're not going to see themselves in my content and this, that, the other thing. Or the other part of this whole thing that I hear with so many of my clients, and I love you to bits and I get you because I did the same thing. It's this, but I help the whole woman. I help the whole person. I help the whole human. So it's so hard for me to choose. It's so hard for me because I help them with this. I help them with the relationship. I help them with health. I help them with money. I help them with business. I help them with marketing. I help them with just like day-to-day living, with their spiritual practice, with their sexual awakening. I help them with everything. And that's not true, but that doesn't sell. If you walk into a store and you're like, I help you with everything, someone would be like, okay. Have you ever gone to a Cheesecake Factory and had the anxiety looking at the menu? I hate it. I hate it so much. My favorite thing in the world is when I go to a restaurant and it's just a chalkboard and that's all I can order because I'm like, this is going to be banging because this is your freshest ingredients. This is who it's for. I want it. This is it. Versus when I go to a Cheesecake Factory, I literally don't go to Cheesecake Factory because I can't even remember the last time I went because I'm just like, nah, too much. I like exclusive opportunities. I like to know this is for me. Every time I've bought something, especially high ticket, it's because I see myself in it. I want it. My mentors that I purchased, they know specifically what I'm going through, so I feel like they actually get me. They're not just saying, hey, do you want to make $100,000 a month? They were talking about the specific problem that I am going through, trying to cater that to my relationship, to my health, to my mindset, to my gaps, to my family stuff, to things. They know my psychology. So when I'm scrolling through, I'm like, you get me in. The way I've hired all my mentors, I have not spoken to any. I literally watched some things from them, read their content, and wired them $35,000. Like, wired them a lot of money. Because I was in, because that's what happens with high ticket buyers that are ready to go, is they're just looking for someone to work with. They're not looking to be sold on the thing. They're looking to be sold on the person who's going to closest proximity to power. They're going to invest in that. Right? So when you're looking at these things, it's like, okay, if you're not being specific enough, if you're not being clear enough, if you're not positioning yourself to cater to those types of people, you are being lost in the crowd. And so that fear of being too niche or that fear of being too exclusive, it's not true, right? For example, I was a dating coach for single women, and all of my private clients were married and in their 40s. I never talked about marriage. I just talked about specific pain points and specific desires. And because I got specific to that for high achievers just gravitated towards me. But if I was talking to everyone, someone would land on my page and they would not think it's for them and they would move to the next person because the people want to self-identify. The reason you listen to my podcast, what you guys all tell me, it feels like I'm FaceTiming you. Like, how do you understand me through and through? How do you know exactly what I'm going through? I study the shit out of you guys. And I'm very specific that I help women in their 30s that are at a choice point deciding between, am I going to have to choose between love and money or love and impact or love and growth? No, I'm going to show you how. Here's how. And I talk about that choice point. I talk about all the things. I get in the hole with you because I've been there. I get it. But if I started talking about all the dating problems from when you're 27 to 52, very different markets, very different mindsets, very different lived experiences, very different time periods of life. Even 27 to 30, very different time periods of life. So picking one age, one area, one job, one thing, one person will make your entire branding so much easier. Because the truth is, you are misunderstanding what personal brand truly means. A lot of us think personal brand is just like a cute logo, like I said earlier, a good, cute Photoshop or photo shoot. And we think that's it. We think that, it has to do with the aesthetic. That's not it. A personal brand is the depth, the art, the human, and not just about you. This is the thing that I think gets missed. It's just like, oh, like these are me. These are all parts of me. No, a personal brand is your heart, your soul, portrayed and positioned to appeal and apply to the people you want to work with. You guys don't know everything about me. I have a very private life. Imagine that. And you guys just get the soft and the savage. You don't get all my other stuff because that's mine and the people in my life. But personal brand is the reputation I want you guys to know. And in order for that to be matched, in order to get the clients that I work with and love and grow with, is because I'm very specific about who that is. And I know specifically and clearly what appeals to you guys. So that when you're scrolling and when you're scrolling through and when we're bombarded by all this information and all these things, my stuff pops out to you because you are listening or you see something or what have you, and it pulls you in. And it's with my words. It's with this. It's with my lives. It's with my podcast. It's with my long form content. It's with my short form content. It's with my reels. It's with things that I'm speaking. It's with my written text. It's with my audios. It's with all of it. It is all specific. If I just said, do you want to get rich and fall in love? You'd be like, okay. But if I said, hey, I know you're at that choice point in your 30s where you are excelling, like you're on the cusp of something great and you freaking know it. You know it. Like you're starting to see momentum in your business. You're starting to get rewarded. You're starting to get people giving you appreciation and celebrating you, like they're really seeing you. But you know right now, it's a choice point. You could keep going with this momentum. Like things are really taking off, but you also know you want to do this with someone. And you can't yet see the choice between or how to balance between love and money, because whenever you have fallen in love, you fall deep in love. And it's like your brain doesn't freaking work and business fall behind and like you're not going after the opportunities you used to go after because you just really love being in love with your person. And so you've kind of just shut that part of your life out, even though you really want it. But you're getting to that age, that age where you kind of have to make a choice, or so you think. In my world, I show you that you don't have to make a choice. You just have to learn how to balance. That feels a lot more clear, tangible, specific in my authority. Plus, I relate to you. Then do you want to find love and make money? Right? Because I'm clear on who I am and my capabilities of how I serve you. I'm clear on my modalities, my methods, my things of that nature. I'm clear on your psychology, your blocks. I'm clear on how it serves you, how it doesn't serve you. I'm clear on what you've been through in order to have those blocks. I'm clear on what you actually search and what appeals to you. I'm clear on so many things about you because I care about you. And I want to do these things. A thing that I see a lot is a lot of us will sit here, and this is why I say my clients want to punch me in the face when we get to this part, because it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of removing yourself and just paying attention. It takes a lot of mental power. But trust me, when you get it, it makes everything so much more easier. But if you keep trying to just pump out content because you want to pump out content or build a brand or pass it off to someone else or hire these things or pay a bunch of money to ads, there's a reason it hasn't worked yet, because you're looking for a quick fix. In an AI world, people aren't looking for information right now. They're looking for someone they can relate to. They're looking for a leader. They're looking for you. But in order to see you, in order to feel you, in order to hear you, you have to be clear and you have to know how to position yourself. That's what a personal brand is. That's what this whole thing is. We don't understand that. We think it has to do with the frilly stuff. It has nothing to do. I mean, it's nice, don't get me wrong, but that's not it. It's how clear and specific can you get? And if you're so afraid and you're just sitting there trying to just cater to everyone, and you're trying to go, yeah, but I have clients that are also at this age, and I have clients that are this age, and I have clients. You're watering down the power of your message when you try and cater to more people. The potency of your art, the potency of your work, you're watering it down because you're people pleasing. Your nice girl tendency is getting in the way. Because that's all that is. When you're sitting here being like, I don't want to piss anyone off. I don't want them to think poorly of me. I don't want these people to not think they're included. I don't want to talk to just one person, because what about people that are in their 30s? What about people in their 40s? What about all these other people? You're watering down your authority. A lot of you ask me, how do I speak with such conviction? Because I know who I serve and I know how I serve them, and I'm really fucking good at it. But I wasn't always. A lot of you sit here, and something I've heard in my private clients when we're working through this is like, not even is like, is it's easy for you. You have something tangible. And I love to break this down because I made something intangible tangible. That's why my brand is so powerful. Because ultimately, I came into this for trauma. So I spoke about everything trauma. I spoke about it all. I spoke about it from gut health. I spoke about it from anxiety and depression. I spoke about it from a trauma lens. I spoke about it from a sexual assault lens. I talked about it in relationships. I talked about it in family. I talked about it in business. I talked about it in money. I talked about it in health. I talked about it with everything, because trauma affects everything. And I was so tired because I was like, why is this not working? I know so much information. I can help so many people. Why is this not working for me? I don't understand. What am I not getting? And I kept getting lost in that. And it's not that trauma is intangible, but I started to pay attention more. And I started to look at the majority of what people were coming to me about, even with my gut health, was relationships. They wanted to feel confident enough to be in relationship, because deep down they thought too much of them was broken to be loved. And they didn't know how to soften. They didn't know how to be at peace. They didn't know how to trust. And so at the outside skirts, what I was teaching was self-worth and confidence, how to feel worthy and be confident, which I know is a big thing a lot of you guys try to sell. But a thing that I always say to my clients is you want to be confident so you can what? And you just want to keep asking yourself that question. And so I kept looking at, you want to have self-worth? For what? To be loved. For what? I want to feel comfortable enough to be loved. I want to feel comfortable enough to know that when good love comes, I'm worthy of it. I want to know that when, I'm with my man and we're getting frisky, I can do it with the lights on. And I feel good enough to ask for it. Like, it can go so many routes. And for a long time, I wasn't getting it because I wanted to appeal to literally everyone. Because I know trauma and understanding trauma, and especially somatic attachment therapy and understanding how your body works and how your brain works and how that's related to stuff. I know when we know this stuff, it changes the world because it's changed my world. Statistically, I should not be where I am. Given everything I've been through, it is the biggest shock to so many people. I am still on this planet and doing as well as I'm doing. So I wanted to tell the world. And I realized no one was listening to me. And I was frustrated because no one was listening to me. So I started to look at what can I make that's tangible? And it started with relationships, but not just any type of relationship. I was specifically helping alpha women find love with alpha men. Why is this specific? Because the thing with alpha women, we became alpha because of trauma. I don't know a single high-performing woman that built her success off of happy-go-lucky life. It usually was stemmed from some sort of trauma in her life that she has been pushing through. And then there comes a time in her life where she realizes this high doesn't hit anymore. And I want to do it with someone, but I have no idea how to be a teammate because I'm so used to being alone. Because an alpha woman is really good at being alone. An alpha woman relying on an alpha man who actually outdoes her alpha, which is a terrifying thing because that means she has to give up control. I made something intangible, tangible. That's how I did that. I studied the psychology. I got clear. I got tangible. I got specific, and I knew how to position myself because I understood my market. That then stemmed into my branding side of my business, which took off like hotcakes because I already understood this side of things. Because I understood then the alpha woman that has built her success and spent her 20s building something had a really hard time letting go. And so if I could teach you how to scale and automate something so you actually have the time freedom to soften and still make the income so you don't actually feel jaded about quote unquote not doing anything, and because we're the first divorce culture, you aren't you're not afraid of potentially if your man loses you, you still have something in the bank for you because these are the things that we worry about. I'm going to show you how to scale and automate your business. And branding just took off. Marketing just took off. Automation just took off. And then branding coupled with that, because a lot of us don't even know how to position ourselves. You feel so much power in the boardroom, in the bedroom, where you're at, just being yourself. But when you go to your social media, it's like, who is this chicken nugget? Curtain doesn't match the drapes. And so I help powerful women establish that. It all just stemmed from this versus sitting and going, I help you build a pretty brand. No, I know specifically why you don't have a pretty brand. I know the brand that you're looking to create because it's like mine. And not like mine in the aesthetic way, like mine in the power and conviction and authority way. That's what you want. You want to be a thought leader. You want to be taken seriously on the internet when it feels like there is noise everywhere. Do you see how in all of these points, I am so specific about who I help and how I help them? I am so clear on how I do that. I put myself in the consistent positioning with this. It does not waver. It does not shake. A lot of us are sitting here being like, oh, I talked to this person. I talked to that person. I tried this for a week. I tried that for a week. Why is it not working? Be consistent for something for at least 90 days. Use these things for at least 90 days. It'll change your freaking life. Trust me. With me, it has. With my clients inside of inside of Bolder Branding, it's incredible. People come into my world 3 weeks in, they already have clients. They never even had a business before. People come into my world, they've had no clients for so many days, sold out retreats. People come into my world, nothing, and now they're a thought leader on stages, blowing up podcasts, being everywhere. That's the power of this. And it's just these little switches. And so, how do we fix it? 1, identify your core audience. I have an entire thing on this inside of Bolder Branding, which is a program inside of Bolder Branding Academy. You can buy it on its own, or you can go through Bolder Branding Academy for 12 months, but identify your core audience. And so when you can understand who your core audience is, it's very easy to create content. It's very easy to know how to speak. It's very easy to present yourself. It's very easy to do all the things that you feel very confused about. Because when I have one person on my mind that I am speaking to, that I'm appealing to, that I am dressing for, that I am creating content for, that I'm writing for, it is so easy to show up. Same thing with my man. I knew the exact man I wanted. I knew essentially his energy, what he was going to be like, what he was going to be doing, how it was going to make me feel. I knew, up until I knew he was going to be a very large human, I knew how he was going to speak. I knew all of the things. I didn't necessarily know how he was going to look, but I was very dialed in on who my audience was. Because when you're very dialed in on who they are, you can be very dialed in on what attracts them. And you can highlight that part of yourself and consistently position yourself to appeal to that market. This is where I said when I understood this, it changed my dating life as well. Because I've only dated high achievers. I only dated people that were in my bracket. I only dated people that were ready for marriage. I only dated people that were ready for children. I only dated people that were open to travel. I only dated entrepreneurs. Like, that is who came through because I was very specific. Same thing with who I work with. I'm very specific. Savages, I'm very specific. Entrepreneurial women, I'm very specific. Women in their 30s, I'm very specific. People that are ready for automation and scaling, I'm very specific. People that already have a business, right? It gets very, very specific on these things because when you start to identify your core audience, you can start to not feel so, oh my God, but there's so many problems people have. There's so many things that people are going through. There's so many stuff that applies to people. There's so many colors and things. It's like, no, who is the one person you are serving? 1, they have one core problem that you fix, and then they have other core problems that are your other programs that you sell. You have one main thing, right? And then this is how you start to develop your clear message, because you start to really look at how to create a brand story, how to create aligned with your values, how to create content into one cohesive message. And so what I mean by that is my clear messaging, right, for my market is women that are at the choice point in their 30s. So my clear message, pre-housewife era. So on one part of my love and relationship, it's just alpha women. It's understanding how to soften. It's understanding how to keep control. It's understanding how to trust men. Like these core things that they go through. On the other side of things, it's understanding automation, it's understanding funnels, it's understanding the spark, afraid of burnout again because you burnt yourself out one time. And so how are you going to actually do this? And it's teaching you that automation isn't actually that hard. It's teaching you branding and stepping into womanhood because you have power in one area of your life, but not online. How do you do that? Because ultimately you cannot keep running and going to these events all the time if you plan on being a wife and a mother. So how do you actually slow down to speed up? Let me show you. These are my core messages. How does my brand story align with that? I did all of that. I gave up my entire life to find love. And I missed the fire from my first business. And then love failed. And so I threw myself into business again. And I was like, there has to be a mix. And there's so many brand stories that go into this of like, I don't know how to be a supportive partner, but I also don't want to give up my business. How do I do this? And I throw myself into all these things. And this is why when you start to develop a clear human, and you have clarity within your brand, your messages just attract the right types of opportunities. And when you're confused, you confuse people, right? When you have clarity, you have conviction. And so when you start to really understand who you're serving, your natural messaging and your, concepts and your stories and what stories you tell and content you write and what content you do, like what emails you sell, how you go live, what you talk about, like all of this becomes a lot simpler because you're very clear and direct versus I'm confused and I have too many options. This is why people aren't gravitating towards you. And then the third one is consistency. Consistency. Become known for one thing. One thing. A lot of us are like, oh, but I help a woman with all things. I help a client with all things. I love that. And I know you do because I do it too. But become known for one thing. Once you nail that, sure, you can add a second one, just like me. When I became known for dating, I added branding. I always knew I was going to. And that's kind of it. I don't know if it's going to go another direction. Who knows? But that's all I had planned for now. And so those are the only two pillars. That's what I'm known for now. But mind you, this has been a 1.5 year long journey. This was not just I had an idea and the next night I posted it. It was a 1.5 year long intention of building this out for branding in and of itself. Relationship stuff was 3 years. Couldn't quite figure it out at first because I was not clear at all. And then I collapsed time in half the time. I made a lot more money. And so be consistent with who you serve and how you serve them, right? So to go back, how to fix this, identify your core essence, develop clear messaging, and be consistent, okay? And so these are the types of things I see one too many women getting stuck on, and they throw away too early, or they move on to the next idea, or they just kind of are that cute little golden retriever where it's like, I have this idea and that idea and this, and like you just get lost and you're wondering why it's not working. And then a whole choice point comes where you think maybe it's not for me. It's not for you. You just have to get more savage. You just have to be more convicted in your messaging, in your method, in who you serve and how you serve them. And you have to stay consistent. It's not for the weak. It's not for the easy. It's not for any of that. You have to fucking work. That's what this is. And so if you want a big life that comes from niching, that comes from clarity, that comes from understanding all of this, I cannot emphasize it enough. But you have to be consistent for the long term. This isn't just a one-off thing where you're sitting there and you're like, oh, I tried it for a month, Lord, what the heck? No, minimum 90 days, and even that is too soon. Even that is too soon. 6 months if you're new here. If you already have a hot audience, sure, you can do things a little bit faster. 6 months. Be consistent with the same thing, with the same method, doing it over and over again, the same messaging. Become the expert in that. Stop touching on all things that comes to humanity. We get it. You trust me, when you heal trauma, you heal it all. We all know that by now. But if I just talked about all the things, my page would have never taken off. My business would have never taken off. I would have never fell in love because I would just be saying yes to everyone. And none of that feels special. Exclusivity is actually what makes us feel more high ticket, right? Specificity is what makes us sit there and be like, that's for me, that's not. That is what makes a high value woman, how specific you are and how you uphold your standards. Stop saying yes to everyone. Step into your self-worth and own the fact that this is going to take work, but you're going to figure it out because you only accept elite. You only want to work with elite. So therefore you have to understand the psychology of the elite. Be a high value woman that knows her power. She doesn't cater to everyone. She caters to one specific person. And she knows she is a match for that person. So she's not going to grovel and beg. She's just going to create and attract. That is the mistake. And that is how you heal it. That is how you move through it. Trust me. This is where the magic lies. And if this is the thing that you are stuck on, I really, really invite you to come into Bolder Branding Academy for 12 freaking months. This is what I'm helping you in. I am helping you move through this whole thing. You're going to be talking all things branding, but we're also talking marketing. We're talking elevating. We're talking automating. We're talking funnels. We're talking content. We're talking sales. We're talking mindset. It's an entire year. So come check it out. If this is your year and you're like, I am done playing chicken nugget small, I'm ready to quantum leap, and you want coaching with me for 12 months, this is your space. And I'm going to put that in the caption. So, loves, I love you. Stop making this mistake. Please, please, please. You'll be a lot happier the more specific you get and the more clear you get on what you want and just freaking owning it. This is what I want. I'm very clear on it. Here's my standards to uphold it. This is what I do. And you are consistent in that, because we respect people that are consistent. Imagine, like, this is the thing that I can kind of say. Imagine someone says, this is who I am and this is who I serve. And she's like a high value woman, and she thinks she's like Queen Chickabobo, right? But then you see her out getting sloshed at the bar. You're sitting there and you're like, that's not consistent. I'm very confused. What's happening here? We love consistency. We love consistency and authority. We love to know when they're here, they're there. When they're these things, it's over and under. Like, I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm getting very lost in my words because my computer's about to die and then I'm going to lose this whole episode. But what I'm trying to say in those moments is someone that sits there and you're like, this is who I am and this is who I serve. There's so much more conviction and embodiment versus this is who I am, but this is also what I do on the weekends. And this is how I actually tolerate shit in my relationship. And this is what's happening in my life. And this is actually how I treat my body and my health. I can tell you're lying about who you are then. You're just trying to sell me something online. Being clear in who you are portrays the standards of which you hold your life with. Clear positioning. Consistent positioning will 10x your dating life and your bank account. I promise you that. And if you want more support on that, get your butt into Boulder Branding Academy. Reach out to me over on Instagram. So, reminder, our podcast is called Soft and Savage now, so keep an eye out for that. And it would mean the absolute world to me if you went and wrote a review, because we are on a mission here to make this the top 1%. And I'd love for you to be a part of it. So, I love you, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.